Welcome inside the latest edition of MatchDA, where throughout the MLS playoffs, we're breaking down each and every match. And so we begin, as always, with Striker, the striker of the day in honor of the 1994 U.S. World Cup mascot. Our striker of the day, Seattle's Gustav Svensson, who scores the first goal, the game-winning goal, for the Seattle Sounders last night against RSL. For Gustav Svensson, this was a great goal coming off the corner kick and breaking a scoreless tie in the 64th minute. It was interesting that Seattle and RSL could not get on the board until that point in time, but familiarity at this point in time created the deadlock over the entire match, and Svensson able to break it open, and thus Seattle moves on to a 2-0 win over RSL. More on this match coming up in a little bit, but Seattle takes on the winner of El Tráfico. Ooh. Since we're talking 90s, it's time to do our honorary LP Bay. And for Carlos Valderrama, one of the most showy, biggest performers, biggest personalities in MLS history, let's give that award today to Alejandro Pozuelo, the Toronto FC scorer, who ends up hitting the PK in the 90th minute to send Toronto FC on. Remember, in this match, you had NYCFC, the #1 overall seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs, and he sets up a penalty kick and just easily, nonchalantly steps up and hits a little floater, a little chip shot, and drowns out the crowd. This is obviously a hugely New York City FC crowd, and he steps up and drills it. Little chip shot, cool as a cucumber, and Pozuelo sends Toronto FC into the next round. And here is where the one-match format, the one-game format throughout the MLS playoffs really comes into play. The NYCFC is the #1 seed of the East, and they get 90 minutes. And if they screw up in those 90 minutes, they're going home, and they did. And I think that's why this format feels so great, in that this year the drama has been built up to a real boiling point in NYCFC win or go home, and you did not win, so you got to go home. You know, an honorary LP Bay should also be RSL goalkeeper Nick Rimando, who has a moment. A 40-year-old keeper. He will now retire. That was his final match. Ends up losing to Seattle in the Western Conference semifinals. But everybody loves Rimando. You saw him getting congratulated by all of the Sounders after the match. Big smile on his face. I mean, everybody in this league loves Rimando. And if you look at his numbers, it's crazy. He's been with RSL since 2007. 2007. He was traded to RSL with Freddie Adu. Freddie Adu. That's how long he's been around. Just to give you context, since 2007, what happened back then? In 2007, it was the Sopranos finale. That feels like a long time ago. And in 2007, in Major League Baseball, they released the Mitchell Report. I mean, we're talking about the steroid era Mitchell Report. That's how long ago Nick Rimando's been with RSL. Congratulations to him. What a career. And finally, that's a meme, and that goes to Ronald Matarrita's collapse after NYCFC's loss. Matarrita ends up committing the worst type of penalty in the box against Richie Larea. He's whistled for the foul. Everybody in the stadium knew that was a foul. It was a good call by the refs. They end up, of course, awarding the PK, as we just mentioned, to Toronto FC, and Pozuelo nails it, and NYCFC goes home. And for Matarrita, I mean, at the moment, he has that dead-eyed look. What did I just do? He's pulling his jersey up over his eyes, and after the match, collapsing on all fours. I mean, tears in his eyes, and he must feel like he lost the whole thing for NYCFC, and it was a terrible decision and an awful mistake, but it was one of many for NYCFC. It was a night full of mistakes for the #1 seed, and they played lethargically, and they weren't sharp. And you have to wonder, was the long layoff too much? I mean, for the #1 seed of the East to go out with such a whimper in a mistake-prone, terrible, dull effort, they've got nobody basically to blame but themselves. Matarrita is the biggest goat with the biggest goat horns. And for NYCFC, it might be the wake-up call. You need your own stadium. I mean, to be playing in a baseball ballpark that ended up, you got kicked out of because the Yankees played too long, so you had to go to Citi Field. And that's not your true home field, and NYCFC needs that stadium soon. That is MatchDA. We'll see you tomorrow for the next two matches of the second round of the playoffs. We'll see you then.